It's real, and it's the response. The global response has been fascinating for us. Like interest from countries that I didn't even think would show up for a number of years. There's so much initiative and food security. I mean, we don't feel it so much in North America in the same way that many other parts of the world do. And there's so much more vulnerability to food supply. So again, lots and lots of interest coming in from the continent of Africa, for instance, and throughout Europe. And of course, Europe has been suffering dramatically because of the war in Ukraine and supply of natural gas specifically, but also fertilizer supply, most of which comes from Ukraine and Russia. Interestingly, has all but dried up. So that means that yields go down dramatically, cost goes up dramatically, and food insecurity is rampant globally. We haven't even seen the tip of it yet.
This is the Alden Report.
Folks, before we get into our next guest, I'm super excited about our latest program. Look, we've been on television for close to 20 years, literally selling hundreds of millions of dollars worth of products and services that have had a positive impact on people's lives. We've created millionaires. If you've ever watched television, you've most likely seen me on television, not dressed like this, but in a suit and in a tie. Listen, we've re-engineered the process. We're allowing people, a small group of people, whether you're an author, whether you're a business coach, whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you have a program or a service that you feel as though that can have a positive impact on people's lives, and you want to up-level your game. You know, you're tired of what's going on social media. You're tired of AI is not kicking in. You're tired of all the money that you spent and you're not seeing any return. You're tired of all these fraudsters out there that tell you they're going to put you in Huffington Post or USA Today or Forbes, and it's nothing just but a joke. You want to be in front of millions of people every single day all over the country. Folks, we've been doing it for 20 years. We've re-engineered the process. We've made it possible for the average everyday person to participate in this. If you want to up-level your game, if you truly want to build your profile, if you truly want to get in front of millions of people every single day, send me a direct message at Mike Alden 2012. You'll see it on the bottom of the screen, at Mike Alden 2012, and put TV in the message, and I will get back to you personally and see if you're a good fit for us. Again, send me a direct message at Mike Alden 2012. Send me the message TV, and we'll see if you're a good fit.
This is the Alden Report.
All right, my name is Mike Alden. We are here in Blue Bay Studios. You know, I'm not rocking my 99-cent glasses. I'm actually rocking fairly expensive readers because I'm at that point now where I need to read stuff and I can't read them without them. So I'm super excited for my next guest. He's going to be talking about a subject that, I don't know, maybe you've heard about it. Maybe some people are talking about it. What's happening with the environment? Is stuff really happening with the environment? Is the ozone layer really a mess? Are our oceans really polluted? Those images of the big giant almost islands full of waste and plastic, is that real? Like, what's really going on? Are the sea levels really rising? Are the glaciers actually truly melting at a pace? Is the temperature on the earth really rising? You know, we hear this all the time, and there's both sides of it, right? I'm kind of a believer in science, so he's going to be here to talk not only about what's going on, but what he's doing about it, and he's been doing it for I think close to 20 years. Please help me welcome Ian Clifford. Ian, thanks so much for being here.
Hey, Mike, it's great to be here. Thanks.
So you're in Canada. We were just talking offline. Let's just get right into it, man. So, you know, again, in my opening, it seems to be here in the United States is the Republicans think that climate change is a myth, and then the Democrats believe, oh well, it's something. Look, I'm here in Massachusetts, and they say, if you don't like the weather, wait a minute. It's November, okay, and it's probably 70 degrees, and it's great, but that's not what it's been like over the past 20 years. And I'm starting to see it here in a state that is fairly regular as far as our climate, right, in our seasons. But then you're looking at the map in the United States, and you look at Arizona, which has always been truly a hot spot in Vegas, and I don't know if you've ever been in Vegas in July. I have, and you walk out and you feel like you're going to spontaneously explode because it's so hot. So let's just start there. Give me the facts. Give me the facts of what's actually going on right now over maybe the past 20, 30 years.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, we could spend hours talking about this. Obviously, I'm sitting north of you in Nova Scotia, Canada, and 2 weeks ago we had a hurricane. So, which is completely out of character for the East Coast of Canada, a very rare event, but now becoming much more common. So, the climate is changing without question. I mean, from a scientific perspective, there is no argument. Ocean temperatures are rising, ice caps are melting, Greenland is melting, which is, of course, causing huge issues in ultimately in terms of ocean levels and that sort of thing. It's all happening, and certainly from a measured perspective over the last century, it all corresponds pretty clearly to the growth of global population and human consumption. So again, we could talk for hours about that. I think that the things to focus on are the things that we can do about it. Where can we facilitate positive change in the way that we do things on Earth to help mitigate this really crisis situation. And there's a lot of things we can do. We as a company, we're very much focused on agriculture. Agriculture is a huge greenhouse gas emitter, both on the animal side of agriculture, but also on the conventional side of how we fertilize our crops, how we distribute the inputs that go into the fields, and so on. So Fuel Positive is really much focused on how do we help farmers mitigate and reduce emissions on the farm. So we're doing that now through a modular containerized green ammonia production system, so farmers can produce their own fertilizers on farm that are not animal-based and are not carbon-based, that allow them to reduce emissions dramatically, and it makes farming much more affordable as well, which is hugely important, and it also reduces greenhouse gases dramatically. So this is an area which isn't really well known by kind of the general population as being a huge greenhouse gas emitter. And we've got to do everything we can to help farmers who feed people around the world, really reduce emissions so that farming is sustainable into the coming decades and centuries, because we can't keep doing things the way that we're doing them today. It's just not sustainable.
Lost your audio there towards the end, but I got what you're saying. So look, there are so many companies out there. I believe your company is a publicly traded company. There are a lot of individuals out there that are trying to make change. And you hear about companies that are trying, like, for instance, like we hear about, let's talk about electric cars, right? You hear that electric cars allegedly supposed to be good. They're supposed to be better, but then you have the school of thought, well, you got to plug those things in and you got to charge them, and those things are really being charged ultimately by some sort of coal production somewhere along the lines, which in theory actually could be potentially worse for the environment. So it's like, what are we supposed to do, right? Because my wife, right, she is a nut as it relates to recycling, right? Mm-hmm. And I've had the people that pick up the recycling, they say, this doesn't help anything. And I'm like, no, what do you mean? Yeah. They're like, it doesn't help anything. And then she'll spend, a half an hour washing out a piece of plastic because, she's worried that, it won't get properly processed because there might be some residual food or whatever in there. Like, that to me is so frustrating, because we as human beings, forget about what countries we're in. I think we all want to make sure that this planet's going to be here for a long time or forever. And we try to do the things that we're supposed to do individually. You're doing it on a kind of a bigger level.
Like, what do you say to that stuff like that? Okay, so let's start there. I recycle stuff. Isn't that supposed to be good for the environment, right?
Yeah, it is, but you've got a lot of the systems are simply broken, right? So you can start looking at things like plastics and realize that there are technologies that exist today to produce biodegradable plastics, for as an example. So suddenly this issue around recycling, which is a really important issue that you're raising, there are scientific and technological solutions today that simply need to be implemented. The problem is, one of the big problems is you've got a century-old oil and gas industry that has been feeding our consumption for over a century, and it doesn't want to change. It wants us to keep utilizing and consuming fossil fuels. It's just that's the nature of that industry. So today we need to look at technologies that can change things at a paradigm shift level. So again, we could eliminate so much unrecyclable waste by moving to technologies that are in fact biodegradable. So that's just one thing. So this again is a very macro solution for a micro issue that you're mentioning, and it's frustrating as consumers because I've had the same conversations with the people who pick up our recycling, and they say the same thing. Like it is not a well-run system in many locations around the world, and of course many countries around the world do no recycling whatsoever. So you've got a huge trash issue that exists there. But technology can help. You know, you move towards biodegradable plastics, and suddenly, if a plastic bottle ends up in landfill, it decomposes. So these are again technologies that can help along the way. Again, very similar to what we're doing. We're using a technological solution to fix a 100-year-old problem. And there are lots and lots of people and companies out there around the world who are looking at just that. And you mentioned electric cars. You know, of course, battery technology is one of the big issues, right? Is where the raw materials coming for batteries. And again, those have a huge environmental footprint. So again, lots of exciting work happening in that regard. Even our company, we're working on a solid state battery technology that would eliminate those kinds of raw material issues. So by using materials that are readily available around the world, that have a virtually inconsequential environmental footprint. And those, again, technology is going to fix things for us. And we've got to embrace companies that are doing that kind of work, because it's not going to happen. The big companies that are century-old consumers and producers are not the ones who are moving fast enough for the kind of change that we need to help the environment. And I see that same conversation happening everywhere in the world, realizing that we've got the technology today to do this. We just have to implement it. And on our website, we quote the young Swedish environmentalist Greta Thunberg, who's very controversial in many places in the world, but she says just that. We know what we need to do. We just have to do it. And governments are opposing it, and big industry is opposing it. We've just got to find ways to make things happen.
The name of your company is Fuel Positive. We're going to get into, what you're doing. I'm looking at, the innovation and the technology that you guys have created. I'm guessing you have probably all sorts of patents surrounding that, and it's pretty neat what you're doing. And I do want to get into that. But again, if you're listening up to this point, you're like, what are these guys doing? You just go to fuelpositive.com. You can check out, what they're doing.
I'm super excited about our latest program. Look, we've been on television for close to 20 years, literally selling hundreds of millions of dollars worth of products and services that have had a positive impact on people's lives. We've created millionaires. If you've ever watched television, you've most likely seen me on television, not dressed like this, but in a suit and a tie. Listen, we've re-engineered the process. We're allowing people, a small group of people, whether you're an author, whether you're a business coach, whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you have a program or a service that you feel as though that can have a positive impact on people's lives, and you want to up level your game. You know, you're tired of what's going on social media. You're tired of AI is not kicking in. You're tired of all the money that you spent and you're not seeing any return. You're tired of all these fraudsters out there that tell you they're going to put you in Huffington Post or USA Today or Forbes, and it's nothing just but a joke. You want to be in front of millions of people every single day all over the country. Folks, we've been doing it for 20 years. We've re-engineered the process. We've made it possible for the average everyday person to participate in this. If you want to up-level your game, if you truly want to build your profile, if you truly want to get in front of millions of people every single day, send me a direct message at Mike Alden 2012. You'll see it on the bottom of the screen, at Mike Alden 2012, and put TV in the message, and I will get back to you personally and see if you're a good fit for us. Again, send me a direct message at Mike Alden 2012. Send me the message TV, and we'll see if you're a good fit.